My name is Annie. I currently go to Occidental College. I am a sophomore and my major is geology. The journey upon realizing that I was polyamorous was a seriously very long and difficult road. It took a lot of understanding that I don't really have to fit into any gender, any role per se, not even gender role, just any role in society, that I could be myself, I could forge my own path into polyamory, and I could teach what it was actually about. Okay, so it started with a hookup, and what hookups do is they kind of rewire your brain into thinking that you can't have what you want. Obviously. And so with this dude, it just became me chasing after him and him eventually sitting me down and telling me, hey, I'm polyamorous. And that's when it hit me that, polyamory existed. And so I was very confused by this term. I was like, are you just telling me if we get together, you're just gonna cheat on me? Like, the same mindset that many other people have about polyamory. And so I did my research, and because although he was a hookup, I did have feelings for someone else at the time, and I thought, oh, whatever, I can just go with it, whatever happens. But honestly, I realized ever since probably 5th grade, which is probably the youngest time that I can remember this happening, but I was basically in love with 3 people at a time, and it just went to show that I was happy with my life, not defining myself that way, but defining myself as polyamorous is also very liberating. And so it was a very hard journey. I literally had my friends around me 24/7, and I would just keep talking to them about this topic, about what I've learned about myself, and just understanding that the more I explained myself, the more defined it became, the more solid my reasoning became, and the more myself I became. The journey was hard, but with all difficult journeys, it's always well worth the ending, the outcome of just understanding myself and knowing what my boundaries are, and that I love myself, polyamorous or not. The thing about polyamory for me in the beginning, when I first discovered that that was what I wanted to identify as, that was me as a whole person, was the fact that, how committed relationships work. And it was very, very difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that I could still have a committed relationship even though I am polyamorous, because as I said before, like me being a hypocrite at that point, is that you can love people different ways. I mean, obviously there's like family love, friend love, significant other love, and it's all just wrapped up into just the whole feeling of just loving someone unconditionally for just no apparent reason other than they love you back. So for me, it was very difficult. It took months before I could understand that I could still have a wonderful committed relationship. So for the first few months after I discovered that I was polyamorous, I would basically go around shaming relationships and being like, this is not what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to be a community of just all loving people and going completely hippie on people. And people are just like, I mean, that makes sense, I guess, like a community of loving, which is fine, but it's like we as humans naturally would like a significant other for ourselves, and it's just, I guess you could say it's selfish that way, but it's just how we are, human nature. So this is a very sad story, but my partner right now, he chased me for months, and I would continuously deflect him because I would be like, I don't believe in relationships. And it was very sad. Oh, it was so sad. But we are together now, very happily together. If I could just understand sooner that a committed relationship does not have to mean you give up all loves of your life. So it's just going from, adamantly what I've researched about polyamory to just understanding myself better, that I do want a committed relationship, that it does mean a lot to me that I can love him a different way than I love everyone else. And it's just also, people say that, polyamory, oh, what if you cheat on them? What if you find someone you love more? It's just that when you go into a committed relationship as a polyamorous person, you just understand that you sort of just understand that if they will be there for you, you must be there for them. And if it makes you unhappy, then you must tell them immediately. That's what polyamory is about. You have to communicate with them, and if anything you're going to do might upset them, you have to tell them. And I mean, for me right now, my situation is pretty stable. Yeah, I'm very happy with him. I actually did not grow up in Los Angeles or this area. I grew up in Central California. So that was a bit of a shocker to move to Temple City and to see such a homogenous community. So when I got to Temple City, I never really explored any of my, things we should be exploring, like sexuality, gender, whatever it is. Like, I just fell into stereotypes and I just simply kept it that way. So while in Temple City, I did not regard myself as anything other than, cisgender, straight female. And literally, I just thought there was nothing out there until I got to college. The Asian understanding of homosexuality, at least for earlier generations, like generations before us, is very one-sided, because I feel that older generations tend to not really push away the subject, but really are afraid of it, because they're afraid if they bring it up, it'll somehow turn their children gay into like gay freaks or something, along those lines. And it's just, I mean, in my Asian household at least, it's just the don't talk about it, don't mention it, vibe. And they feel that by doing that, it'll keep you safe from the homos, from like, turning you into a homo. And it's like, that's probably the worst way to do that, number one. And also, number two, it just completely destroys the chance for healthy dialogue about, like, open-mindedness and just understanding your community better. And it just completely destroys that. And it just creates sort of an aura of fear about the subject, at least in older generations, probably also in this generation, or my generation. But, so with the incident in, with the churches, it just goes to show really that an unwillingness to understand gay marriage and queer politics, I suppose, and just an adamant fear of being progressive, an adamant fear of just going into the future. And I mean, this goes for many generations of many different races, but it's just, fear sort of drives everything at this point, because, I mean, you can go ask any, or at least my Asian mom, you can go ask my Asian mom and she'll literally just say ew to the subject and just not talk about it, sadly. But, I mean, it's really fear that drives it. So I feel the future of queer politics, especially in the SGV, is just, there's only one motto, just to keep going, because with every progressive movement, it just, you have to keep fighting for, something you believe in, something you want. And to just, even just have that simple acceptance by people when you tell them, I'm LGBTQ, I'm whatever I am, I don't identify as male or female, anything. It's just to fight for that simple acceptance of people just going, oh, okay, not knowing that in their brains they're just like, God, you are disgusting, or something like that, is just the hardest battle anyone could ever fight. And the only thing that you can do is just keep going until people understand that we are here, we are strong, and I mean, there's nothing that can stop us at this point. So, go SGV.